Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another video, man. So this is something that I overheard yesterday when I was at work. So I heard like it was like 3 people talking, and I kind of came in on the back end of the conversation. And long story short, it was about relationships, right? And it was a guy, he was talking to one of the girls, and he was just telling her that, you know, you got your standards too high. You need to lower your standards. And although I do believe in certain situations, you do have some females, just as well as men, out here who do have unrealistic expectations in terms of what they want from a partner. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna push that aside. Right now, we're gonna focus on the act of settling, right? And she said some real stuff. And she asked him, and he couldn't answer her question. So she asked him, she was like, let me ask you something. She was like, are you happy in your relationship? Did you settle? She's like, are you happy are you happy in your relationship, or did you settle? And he couldn't really answer that. So, and she was like, basically, you're confirming everything I'm saying right there. And it's that she wasn't against the notion of a relationship. She was against the notion of settling for a relationship. And that's something that I don't believe in. And she was like, I'm comfortable with being alone. Why do I have to be in a relationship? Why do I have to be in one that I'm settling to be into? You see what I'm saying? So, and he was kind of getting agitated with her. But I'm looking like, bro, take time to listen to what she's saying. She's not saying she's against relationships, but you're in a relationship. Okay, cool. That's what you want. That might not be what that particular person wants, but he's saying lower your standards and things of that nature to settle. So why would I settle in a relationship? So for me, that's just like me, right? My last relationship I just got out of. My relationship came down to the person that I was with did not want to compromise at all. She didn't want to sacrifice at all. But I was willing to do all of the compromising. And to a certain degree, in my mind, I feel that would have been settling. Because I know that, and there's no knock to her, I feel like I'm the type of guy that you're not going to be able to come across me again 9 times out of 10, just the things that I do and the things I brought to a relationship, right? Especially with her experiences with bad relationships. So I can find another you. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't nothing extravagant that you brought to our relationship. You wasn't on the same page with me in terms of wanting marriage within this time frame or even wanting kids in this time frame. So it's almost like, okay, so if we're not on the same page, why would I be willing to sacrifice and risk to do for you when you wouldn't even do it for me? But that's settling because you don't want to go back onto the market because you feel like, man, I might not be able to find another woman that looked this good, or man, I might not be able to find another woman, or man, I might not be able to have sex for the next 2 years just because I can't find a woman. So those are all things that makes you settle. So I even made a video like 2 videos ago, and I was saying, like, are people in relationships actually happy? And I was like, I'm under the notion to believe that 80% of the people that you see in relationships are not actually happy. They're all settling to some shape, form, or fashion, whether it's the female settling for this guy because he's a safer option, or whether it's a guy settling for this female because she's attractive but we don't get along. She gets on my nerves. She don't have no substance outside the looks, but she's beautiful and it's consistent sex. So I don't want to abandon it. And I know a lot of guys, because we always say, like, I think it's harder for guys to be continuously sexually active than it is for women, because guys put women all the way up here, and I feel like for the most part, if women do put guys up here, they don't show it as much as guys do. So it's easier because women are desired for the most part. So it's easier for women to have sex than men. So a lot of men be like, okay, cool, I'm not willing to lose this consistent sex, and and knowing I might have to go another year or 2 years before I can actually have sex again, unless I settle for whatever, and I don't want to do that. So my thing is this, even with relationships and in life too, man, we have to get to the point to where you have to stop settling. You got to find out what you're worth. First, you have to identify your worth. So I remember another girl, prime example, and this when I was single. So I was pursuing this particular female, and my thing was, okay, let me kind of ask questions because I don't want to come out and directly ask, hey, do you have a boyfriend? So I was like, okay, cool. So we was talking about something. I don't remember what we was talking about. And I was like, your boyfriend can do that or something like that. And she's like, well, I don't have a boyfriend. I was like, okay, cool. So when I identified that, so then I asked her, I was like, so, why don't you have a boyfriend? And she was like, well, I caught him cheating on me like 10 times. So when she said that, I'm looking like 10 times. So I asked her, I was like, let me ask you something. I was like, do you have like self-esteem issues? Do you have a low self-esteem? And I told my buddy about that, and he was like, oh man. And I was like, because it's a real question. Who thinks that being cheated on 10 times is love? That's care. That's a person wanting you. Like, who thinks that? That's a horrible mindset of what you think love is. Love is not mistreatment at all. Getting your butt whooped by a guy is not love. Getting cheated on by your guy is not love, because if he loves you how much he say he loves you, why can't he just be with you? And if you're not pleasing him in certain aspects, then how can he truly love you then? You see what I'm saying? Because if he love you, a part of love is sacrificing. That's a big part of it. And that's the part that a lot of people don't want to. Everybody wants the vision of love, couples goals, going here, matching outfits, all that type of thing, a marriage, a big marriage, but don't nobody want the sacrifice that comes along with that, because on either or in a relationship, it's going to be sacrifices, right? So if you're a person, just like my ex, that do not want to sacrifice and believe that you shouldn't have to sacrifice, why are you even in a relationship? You might as well just be with yourself. You know, like Justin Bieber said in that song, if you love the way you look so much, then maybe you should go and marry yourself. Like, realistically, if you're not willing to sacrifice. So I'm not willing to settle for anything. You know, a lot of people are, because they don't want to be alone. Alone is uncomfortable for a lot of people, because a lot of people do not know who they truly are. But once you know who you truly are, once you identify your worth, you say, I'm not settling for that. I know I can get better than that. If it comes, it comes. I'm not gonna hold my breath on it, but I know I can get with a woman that's willing to sacrifice for me as much as I'm willing to sacrifice for her. I know I can get with a woman that's willing to give me the same amount of attention that I give her. I know I can be with a woman who's willing to not let outside voices affect our relationship, because it comes down to just me and that woman. So that woman is out there. So why would I settle for a woman who don't check off any of those boxes? You see what I'm saying? So the same thing goes for you guys for settling for women, or women for settling for guys. If the guy doesn't check off these boxes, and sometimes they're not going to check off all of them, but if they don't check off none and they don't want to check off any of them, they don't care about you. They're either A, using you to get over a situation that they was just that they're in, or they either B, settling because they don't want to lose you, because they don't want to be alone and they don't want to go without sex. So it's not that they genuinely care about you, because if you genuinely care about somebody, you could be around this person for weeks, like I was with my girl, and we didn't have sex. You know, we didn't have sex every day. You know what I mean? So, but because we had that type of bond, that type of relationship, to which I thought, you know what I mean? That's what I thought. But not to get too far into that, but it's just, don't settle, man. Like, I don't care if you have to learn yourself. Learn yourself. I always tell people like this, right? Let me get a little deep. Let me sit a little upright. So I always tell people like this, right? Prime example. You take a gangster, for example. A guy who's running with his buddies. He might be running around in a group of 5. And within that group of 5, it's like you settle for what the common thought is, or what the common thing that we want to do. So if we're in a group of 5, and in my mind, I might be like, bro, let's go to the gym, let's go work out, or let's go hoop. But the other folk like, man, nah, I want to go chase behind females, or nah, I'm trying to go run up on my ops, or whatever the case may be. So even though you're not on that type of time, majority rule. So it's like, okay, I gotta go do this. So a lot of your thinking is influenced by your circle. So when you take these guys, they get into this trouble, and you put them in prison, and they're in isolation, they're in lockdown for disciplinary reasons, or just because they were a force on the streets. Now you have nothing but time to stay by yourself, because you don't get that option when you're in prison. It ain't no, oh nah, I want to be around. No, it ain't no option. You going by yourself regardless if you want to or not. So you're in 23-hour lockdown. So all the time that you're spending within those 23 hours, you're by yourself. You're hearing other voices in other cells, but none of y'all can visibly see each other. So when y'all talking to each other, y'all talking to each other through a door. So it's just you and the 4 walls. And that's 23 hours a day that you're having to go through that. So if you look at a lot of these guys, it was a gangster by the name of Monster Cody. And it was, a gangster by the name of Larry Hoover. All these guys that spent all that time alone, now they have time to reflect on the things that they have done. And now they say like, okay, man, I feel so bad for doing this. Man, I feel so horrible for doing that. But when you was out and influenced, you just went with the majority, the majority of the decision. And that's what y'all ran with, and that's what you ran with, because that was the common thing. But once you get in there, now you have nothing but time to spend alone, and you say, okay, I gotta find something to do to occupy my mind, because if not, I might end up killing myself. So I gotta find different books to read. So now you're reading these different books. Now you're getting education. Now you're working out, doing your push-ups, doing your sit-ups, because you have nothing else to do. So you're not only building yourself up physically, you're building yourself up mentally. So that's why when you have a lot of conversations with guys, or you listen to interviews with guys that's done time like that, in the whole, intellectually, they're different. And in your mind, you're thinking like, man, this dude is smart. Why did he settle for that lifestyle? He had the knowledge, he had the potential to possess that, but where he was in life, it wasn't gonna allow it. So he had to go through that to get here, to get that knowledge. Now, hopefully it don't garnish you a life sentence to where you get that knowledge, but you can't never take it out on the streets because of a crime you committed. You see what I'm saying? So now we're gonna go back to the relationship thing. So if I have to be alone because I don't want to settle, I have to learn myself. I have to find out who Robert is, or whoever it is that's alone. So let me find things that I was interested in. Let me find out a good hobby. Let me, work on whatever things that intrigues me, right? And from there, that's where you're preparing yourself for the person to come into your life. Because now when this person come into your life, they're like, man, you're a once in a lifetime type of person. Like, how did you get all this intellect? How did you become so wise? Like, how, like you're just amazing. But it's like, bro, I spend so much time by myself that all I have to do is self-reflect and self-assess and hold myself accountable, because I'm not around. I don't have people that's going to tell me what I want to hear because I'm alone. So I'm telling myself what I need to hear. Hey, bro, you need to get on your P's and Q's. You need to stop being lazy. You need to stop sleeping in. You need to stop, half-assing your way through life and actually take something serious. So it's benefits from being alone. You know what I mean? I know I jumped from one topic to this, but ultimately it comes down to what I was saying, and that's just not settling, man. Why settle? Because you're settling for this when you just don't know that God is preparing you for this. But if you settle for this, how would you ever get there? You see what I'm saying? So you have to be willing. It's a saying that my old manager used to always tell me. Sometimes you got to slow down and speed up. And at the time, intellectually, I could never get what she was saying when she said it. Now I understand it. So sometimes you have to, the speeding up is being in a relationship. Okay, this relationship don't work, I'm hopping in another relationship. But it's all, ultimately, it comes down to you settling, right? So to slow down, we'll say, you know what? This opportunity might be here, but it's not what I want. I would have to settle to be in that. So now I'm gonna slow down. Let me focus on me. Let me take care of me. And now that person comes along, and that's the transition I'm having to go through myself right now. Like, I just made a video on my other channel. I'm gonna end up making a video on here too about my experience with Tinder. But that was my mindset. Okay, I just had a breakup. Let me jump back out there and look at what I went through with Tinder. Now I told myself last night, you know what, man, now I got 3 channels, so let's just time to just lock in and focus on that. And when it's time, it's time. But I'm not settling for anything. I'm still waiting on this person right here. So this person, like on this, my most recent tattoo, right? This is 2 Corinthians 5.7. I don't know if you guys can clearly see it, but it says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." Right? So my thing is this. That's a true scripture. So when I was going through my breakup, that's what I was saying. I can't see the light, but I know it's there. So all I gotta do is just keep on walking, regardless of what I gotta hit to get there. I know it's light there, so I'm gonna get there. So the same thing even with my relationship. For we walk by faith, not by sight. I just went through a breakup with a female I thought I was gonna be with for the rest of my life. Then I went on Tinder thinking I'm finna find something on Tinder, and it was all bullshit at the end of the day. But guess what? Now I'm gonna focus on Rob. I'm gonna focus on me self-improving, and from there I'm gonna walk by faith and believe that I can't see this person. This is this person. It's out of frame, right? You can't see this person, but you got this person. So I'm not gonna settle for this person just because I can't see that person. Life is all about faith. We believe in the unknown, even if in our mind we can't even think of if it exists, but we keep going because we go based off of faith, and that's what it's about. So ultimately, man, don't settle, and that goes for anything. It's not just relationships, man. It's career-wise. Some of you guys, including myself, are some of the most talented individuals in the world. But guess what? You don't have the mental fortitude to withstand something long enough for it to actually work out. As soon as things don't work out, you want to quit, you want to cry, you want to give up, you want to say it's this person's fault and that person's fault, when ultimately it's only your fault, because God is giving you the opportunity every day that he wakes you up. Every day you get the opportunity. Now it's up to you what you do with it. Everybody have the same 24 hours in a day. So if this person chooses to work 16 hours out of a day and only sleep the other hours it takes, that's him. If you decide to work 4 hours out of a day or no hours out of a day and just rest all day, that's on you. So you can't complain about anybody, and I don't want to hear nothing about your circumstances, because we all possess everything necessary to turn our situations around. But you know, I just wanted to touch on that. I'm glad I just had that on my mind, because I just filmed another video that y'all gonna be seeing before this one. That's gonna be going up, so I might even drop this video the same day. It just all depends on how things go in terms of the upload process, because I got to go to work in about 3 or 4 hours. So it just all depends. But man, if you did enjoy that video, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. If you liking my videos, man, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to, you can share. You don't have to. You can if you want to. But I'll see y'all in the next video, man. I'm out this thing. Peace.